All right, we got our informative MLA format essay coming up to end this quarter. And I just wanted to share with you the template of exactly how to write that sentence by sentence to write a successful essay. And not only that, but I'm going to write an essay in real time. I'm going to show you exactly how it works using your notes and everything that we've built throughout this quarter. So let me share my screen and we'll get started. So the first thing that you should see is this MLA format informative essay, exemplar, excuse me. And this is a couple of things. First of all, just the way that it looks is exactly how your essay should look. And I'll get into that more in a minute. The other thing that this does really well is it literally lets you know sentence by sentence how you should be writing your essay. So you can see here, the first sentence of your essay is a topic sentence, providing a broad overview of what the entire essay is about. Whereas the second sentence narrows the focus and informs the reader what the essay is about specifically. When I say specifically, I mean who, when, where, why, and how it connects to the opening sentence. The third sentence is the thesis statement, and this is the backbone of the entire essay and directly states what the following paragraphs prove. Now, the fourth sentence is sort of optional. It's the essay map, which lays out what is coming next in the body paragraphs. But for many of us, this is going to be part of our thesis statement for this essay, in which case your introduction would only be 3 sentences long. Getting into the body paragraph, all 3 of your body paragraphs are going to have the exact same structure. The first sentence of the body paragraph is either a topic sentence or a transition sentence. The topic sentence is the easiest way to do it and what I would recommend. It basically just lets the reader know what the following paragraph is about, whereas a transition sentence is a little more advanced. It also lets the reader know what the following paragraph is about and connects to the previous paragraph. The second sentence of the body paragraph sets up and offers textual evidence. Note that I said sets up and offers textual evidence. Okay, so a common mistake is for students just to put the textual evidence in as the second sentence, just drop quote. You'll hear me say that throughout the year, drop quote. Do not drop quote. You have to properly introduce your quotes. There's a bunch of different ways to do that. We'll cover a couple of them today. Then the third sentence, and possibly fourth, analyzes the textual evidence. And then you just repeat that step for body paragraph 2 and body paragraph 3. You use the same format as body paragraph 1, which then brings you to the conclusion. The conclusion, the first sentence is going to paraphrase the thesis statement. It means you want to write your thesis statement again, but you want to change the order, change the words around a little bit. You want it to have the same message, but you want it to be written in different words. The second sentence of the conclusion is going to broaden the focus. It's going to get less specific. And then the final sentence of the conclusion, you are attempting to offer a broad sweeping statement. I always tell my students to do like this with your arm and look to the sky when you say your last sentence. I know that sounds silly, but if you do that and it feels right, it feels like the sentence fits with this broad sweeping motion, then maybe you have a good final sentence. Now, again, this document here shows you what MLA format looks like. That means 2.0 line spacing, size 12 times New Roman font, every paragraph indented using the tab key, and the title is capitalized, centered, and the same size and font as the rest of the text. You don't bold your title, you don't underline your title, you don't make it bigger. It's just centered and capitalized. And then here's some tips as well, useful tips, useful because I've said them like 10 million times over the past couple of years, so I know that they're important to remind students of. The first thing I'll say is think of the conclusion as an upside down introduction. If you look at the format of the conclusion versus the introduction, it really is just the introduction turned upside down. What do I mean by that? Well, your introduction finishes with your thesis statement. Your conclusion starts with your thesis statement. Your introduction starts with a broad topic sentence, and your conclusion finishes with sort of a broad topic sentence. So I find that that's helpful sometimes to think of the conclusion as an upside down introduction. Don't introduce any new information or textual evidence in the conclusion. Remember, the conclusion is just sort of a recap of everything that you've talked about in this essay, and you don't want to be bringing up new points or new evidence. If struggling with a title, write the essay first and then come back and write the title last. By the time you've finished the essay, you should really have a solid understanding of what the essay is about, and it might make it easier for you to write your title. A good title is short and provides an idea of what the essay is about without giving it all away. After completing a body paragraph, read it and ask yourself, what is this paragraph about? The answer that you have should be your topic sentence, or at least very similar to your topic sentence for that paragraph. This is another thing that you can come back to after. If you write your body paragraph and you're not sure about your topic sentence, read it when you're finished. And you might find that the topic sentence doesn't accurately represent what's in that paragraph, and you can change it. Use third person language only. That means no I, no we, no you, no us, no our. Okay, he, she, they, their, it. Don't use any first or second person language. Avoid using words like always, everyone, and all. These words are easy to fall into using, but they're divisive. You know, if you say everyone does this or all people think this way, as a reader, you're going to immediately react and think, well, I don't think that way, or that's not what I think. So instead, use softer words, use sometimes, use some, use most, use often, because these words are much more difficult to argue with, and it's going to make it easier to defend. When the essay is finished, the 3 topic sentences for the body paragraph should directly connect to the thesis. That's one good way of checking to make sure that your essay is structurally coherent and cohesive, that everything fits together. So what we're going to do next is we're actually going to write an essay. I'm going to write an essay for you, and I'm going to show you how to use your notes to get that done. So I'm going to go back to a previous assignment of ours when we looked at the Kids Need Structure TED Talk speech by Colin Powell. And I'm going to use my notes to write an essay. I'm going to show you exactly how that works. So if you've taken good notes, if you have used a text-specific question, which you can see mine here, what kind of kids is Powell talking about that could benefit from being handled with this type of discipline? And I gathered my 3 textual details here, and I wrote my analysis here, and then I wrote my summarizing statement here. Powell believed that structure and discipline was an immense benefit for certain students, specifically those who came from broken homes, weren't having their basic needs met, and were in danger of falling behind in school. So this, you can see this summarizing statement answers my text-specific question. What kind of kids is Powell talking about that could benefit from being handled with this type of discipline? He's talking about these type of kids from broken homes, kids who weren't having their basic needs met, and were in danger of falling behind in school. And that, again, is my 3 key detail. This is the kids from the broken home. This is the kids who weren't having their basic needs met. And these are the kids who were in danger of falling behind in school. So you can see how already I'm in a great place here because everything fits together. My summarizing statement, which is going to become my thesis statement in just a moment here, answers my text-specific question. And my 3 key details are all present in my summarizing statement or my thesis statement, which means everything is going to fit together nicely. So let me show you how that works. So we're just going to come down here to a new page, and I'll show you how to set this up MLA style, how it's going to look. So first, let's make sure that we've got Times New Roman, size 12, good, not bold. And we also want 2.0 line spacing. Now, some of you, your words might look different depending on if you're using the offline or online or suite version, whatever. But you want to find the line and paragraph spacing option for those of you who are not familiar. And you want to click on 2.0. This is 2.0 line spacing, okay? Now, like I said, it might be in a different spot on your word, but you need to find this. and you need to set it. And then we're going to follow, if you can remember, this tells us exactly how we want to set it up. So we're going to follow that. I'm going to write my name, not in green. Like 2.0. Say so. I'm going to write the teacher's name, which is also me. I'm going to write the class, and I'm going to write the date. And then I'm going to center the text so that I can write my title. Benefits of structure. That's what I'm going to go with for now. Now this is, if we go back to our other document as well, we're looking at a title that is short, provides an idea of what the essay is about without giving it all away, and is also capitalized. So I think we've achieved all of that here. The benefits of structure tells us kind of what the essay is going to be about. It's going to be about the benefits of structure. Now, what are the benefits of structure? Well, if you want to know that, then you have to read the essay. So that's kind of what you're trying to do. You give the idea of what it's about, but you also want to provoke a little bit of curiosity so that they want to read your essay. So now we're going to go down to our introduction. And we're going to tab. Just see that one. For those of you who don't know the tab key, please discover the tab key. Just one. None of this space. Please don't do that. Oh my God, drives me crazy. So we're going to just tab once, and we're going to start our introduction. And we want to start our introduction with a topic sentence, providing a broad overview of what this essay is about. What this essay is about is what structure, discipline, and how it can help kids. So let's get started. Well, most people have a sense of freedom in their education. Some can benefit from rigid structure and discipline. Okay, so you can see right here, most people, some can benefit. I'm not saying everyone, I'm not saying all, because these are very strong words that will make people want to argue with you. You want to kind of be as broad and vague as possible while still talking about your topic, which is what I've done here. This is what my essay is going to be about. It's about education and how it can benefit from rigid structure and discipline, how some people can benefit from rigid structure and discipline. And that brings us to sentence number 2. And sentence number 2 narrows the focus, informs the reader what the essay is about specifically, who, when, where, why, and how it connects to the opening sentence. So what we're going to want to do here, since we're writing an informative essay about a specific person and their opinion, almost everybody's second sentence is going to specifically mention the author of the text by name, and probably the year as well that it was written, because that is immediately, just in a few words, it's going to give the reader who's coming in from the outside, it's going to give the reader a very good sense of exactly what it is they're reading. Who am I reading about? When am I reading about? What am I reading about? You can accomplish all of that in just one sentence. So let's do that right now. Former Secretary of State Colin Powell elaborated on this topic during a TED Talk speech in 2012. So you can see that with that second sentence, we know who is writing about this, who we're talking about. We're talking about Colin Powell. And we know when we're talking about. We're talking about a speech that was from 2012. So now in just 2 sentences, we have an idea of what this essay is going to be about, and we have an idea of when it was written. or when the topic was written about, and by who. That's a lot to accomplish in just 2 sentences. And that's good, because going into sentence 3, we're going to go with our thesis statement. Now, my thesis statement, again, because I've sort of done my work so far, is going to be very similar to what I have written here. It's going to be remarkably similar to that summarizing statement. Howell believed that structure and discipline were immensely beneficial for certain students. Specifically, I mean, we can stop here if you want. What I've written right here is my thesis. Powell believed that structure and discipline were immensely beneficial for certain students. You could leave it at that. You could do a full stop right there, and then you could go to the 4th sentence, which would be your essay map. But in this example, I'm going to build my essay map. I'm going to add it right onto my thesis statement. Because this essay is quite short, the thesis is quite short, and I want to just make it look stronger by tacking my essay map right onto it. So now what's coming next, when I say specifically, I'm going to basically mention body paragraph number 1, body paragraph number 2, and body paragraph number 3. The main ideas from all 3 of those body paragraphs, which again, supports my thesis. So specifically, those who came from broken homes weren't having their basic needs met and were in danger of falling behind in school. So that's it. We have finished our introduction. We have our topic sentence. We have our 2nd sentence narrowing the focus. And we have our 3rd sentence, which gives the thesis statement and has the essay map in it, which means we can move to body paragraph number 1. Now, going back to our document here, body paragraph number 1 is going to be this. It's going to be built around this textual evidence, this piece of textual evidence, and the analysis that came with it. So we've already got most of what we need for body paragraph number 1. All we need to add to that is the topic sentence, and then we need to find a way to introduce our textual evidence. So we really, we're halfway finished with our body paragraph before we even started writing. So we're going to say, if students don't have structure at home with their family, then they most likely need it at school. This is my topic sentence. I think it's okay, but I'm going to write the rest of my body paragraph, and then I'm going to read it and ask myself, does it fit? I think that's the best thing to do. Try to write the topic sentence. Don't worry if it's perfect. Write the rest of your body paragraph, and then just come back once it's finished and check and see if it makes sense. Now I need to find a way to introduce my quote. So this, the way I'm going to do it in this example is a little bit more advanced, but there are so many different ways that you can introduce direct evidence from the text, and this is just one of the ways. It's more of a conversational way. Howell recognized this idea when he singled out students that, quotation, and this is where my textual evidence comes in, come from homes where there is, for the most part, just one person in the home. So I'm going to be using that directly. Come from homes where there is, for the most part, just one person in the home. Now you can just copy paste your quote in there. It might be easier so that you make sure you don't mess anything up. Because the last thing you want to do is make a mistake and use a direct quote and then write it the wrong way. So that would be a big mistake. come from homes where there is, for the most part, just one person in the home. Come from homes where there is, for the most part, just one person in the home. Great. So you can see this is me sort of introducing the quote in a conversational kind of way. It's a little bit more advanced, but it's clever. And if you can manage to do this, it's great. What you don't want to do is drop quote. You don't want to just start your second sentence with come from homes where there is, for the most part, just one person in the home. That does not work. And the other thing I want to point out here is that we can say Powell recognized. We could even say he recognized here in this body paragraph because of the work that we did in our introduction, where in our second sentence, we specifically laid out who it is that we're talking about, former Secretary of State Colin Powell. Because we've built this foundation, now all of our readers know who we're talking about. For the rest of the essay, we can say just Powell, or we could even just say he said, he quoted, or whatever, he believed, because we've set up who that is. Now imagine that you didn't do that and you got down to your first body paragraph, you would have to introduce him then, which is a bit awkward. So now we have our textual evidence. So now we're going to analyze it. And we're basically going to just take, once again, we're just going to take our analysis from up here and just port it down here into our body paragraph. Students Powell was referencing came from broken homes. These homes didn't offer a typical family structure, likely lacked a disciplinarian. My goodness. Boyd Powell believed could be filled by schools. So now again, I'm going to read this paragraph to myself. He talks about kids coming from homes where there is just one person. He's talking about broken homes. These homes don't offer a typical family structure and lacked a disciplinarian, which he believed could be filled by schools. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about that if students don't have structure at home with their family, then they most likely need it at school. So you can see how that works. If you can read your paragraph and ask yourself, what am I talking about? And you read your topic sentence as the answer, if it makes sense, then you're doing great. That's exactly what you want. It's all cohesive. It all connects together. So now we're going to move to body paragraph number 2, and we're just going to rinse and repeat this same process. Here is my textual evidence. Here is my analysis, and I just need to set it up. I know this is talking about kids who aren't getting fed at home. They're coming to school hungry. They can't focus. So now I'm going to write my topic sentence. The daily lunch might not seem to be the type of structure that truly impact a student's life. Powell disagreed. He said, so this is probably the more standard way of introducing a quote. It's a bit boring, and you don't want to have, like, if you're going to use 3 pieces of textual evidence, you don't want to have all 3 introduced in the same way. So you don't just want to say Powell said, Powell said, Powell said, or Powell stated, whatever. You want to mix and match as much as you can, but this is pretty much the standard approach. He stated, and this is my textual evidence. Kids are coming to first grade and their eyes are blazing. In reference, students that were hungry and malnourished. Now, I don't have to actually have this part in the sentence. I could just put a full stop here and use this for my analysis, but I've just decided to add a little bit of context to this quote because it's without context, it's a little bit confusing. And then I will put in my analysis. If a student wasn't being fed properly at home, then studying was probably low on their list of priorities. This is where structure of a daily school lunch could provide immeasurable dividends, which is just another word. Dividends is just another word for benefits. I just don't want to overuse the word benefits because I used it here and I used it here. So, you don't want to, and I used it here. That's already a lot of benefit, beneficial. So I don't want to be using that word again if I can help it, because I've already really overused it. All right. So now we're done with body paragraph number 2. And again, you can do the same process. You can read it and ask yourself, what is this about? And then read your first sentence to make sure that it fits. So we're going to move on to body paragraph number 3. Look at that. We're almost done. Body paragraph number 3, once again, will be coming directly from this table. Here is my textual evidence. Here is my analysis. So this is about if you're not reading, if you're not taught to read at home, you come to school, you fall behind, and you're going to be in danger of going to jail when you're older, something he believed. So for students with difficult home lives, oops, I skipped a part. Try that again. While most education is thought to occur in schools, the amount of education that happens at home cannot be underestimated. Now we're going to get into our textual evidence. Powell knew how detrimental not getting a head start at home could be when he said. It's a bit of a long way to introduce a quote, but it absolutely works. If you are not at the right reading level, 3rd grade, you are a candidate for jail at age 18. So there is our textual evidence, and now we analyze it. Students that missed out a solid educational foundation at home were at risk when they came to school, which made it even more important to have a structured reading program to help catch them up. So now we're going to move on to our conclusion. And remember what I said, a conclusion is basically upside down introduction. So the first thing we're going to want to do is go back to our thesis statement. Powell believed that structure and discipline were immensely beneficial for certain students, specifically those who came from broken homes, weren't having their basic needs met, and were in danger of falling behind school. So one of the easiest ways to paraphrase not just changing the words, but also changing the order. So we're going to start with the children who came from broken homes, and then we're going to move to their basic needs, and then we're going to move to the top and the bottom. So basically, I'm going to start with the middle part, and then I'm going to end with the beginning and the end. It's all going to be there. I'll show you here. It's all still going to be there, but it's just going to be in a different order with some different words. For students with difficult home lives, don't have access to food and educational support, getting that support through a structured school environment is crucial to their well-being, academic success. So yeah, if you look at this again, remember when we wrote our thesis statement up here, we did our thesis first, and then we did body 1, body 2, and body 3. Whereas this one is more like body 2. Wait just a second. Yeah, it's more like actually body 1, body 2, and body 3 with our thesis at the end. So it's almost like just completely backwards, which is fine. As long as you're using a little bit of a different order, as long as you're using different language, then you're going to do great. You really do want that first sentence to just be your thesis, but you don't want to write it in exactly the same way. Otherwise, it feels repetitive. So then the next 2 sentences honestly might be the hardest part for me to give you advice on, because as you get more broad and more vague, you know, it's a little bit more difficult to tell you exactly what to write. You just kind of have to have a feel for it, and that feel comes from practice. So I'm going to say Powell recognized, I'm going to bring him back into it before we say goodbye, that for students like this, discipline and structure would help provide them with a foundation they were lacking. So, and then I'm going to riff off of this. I've kind of broadened it a little bit. I'm talking about, yeah, Powell believed all of this because he believed that it would be a good foundation. A good foundation for what? A good foundation for having a great life, for having a wonderful future. You know, that big arm swing, right? We're back there. So with the right foundation, these students would have a chance at a bright future. And that's it. We are done with this essay. Now, this essay is going to be 300 to 500 words. So let's just highlight this and see how we did. So when you're checking word count, you can go from the title all the way to the end, but you're not going to be counting your name and the class and the date. So that's how you check. You can see right down here, 383 words. So if we're looking for 300 to 500 words, this is absolutely perfect. Not a word wasted. And that's the whole point of getting familiar with this, this template, this sentence by sentence template, so that you don't wander off the path, so that you're not just saying stuff to say it. Every single sentence in this example serves a specific purpose and is not wasted. And that's what makes a very nice, powerful, concise, coherent essay. So that's it. Let me stop sharing here. I hope that helps. I hope it's something that you can watch whenever you're in trouble and you need a little bit of advice on how to write this style of essay. And if you follow these tips, you're going to have a really strong, I'll use the word again, foundation for writing essays in the future. Of course, not all essays are just 300 to 500 words, but we'll work in the future on how to scale this, this technique up, how to build a longer essay out of this same sort of structure. For now, this gives you a really, really good base. I hope it works for you. Hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching.